So, welcome to the garden. It's May 13th, about a month since we had the first tour. And yeah, things are looking up. So this bed, the tree cabbages seem to be settling in well, despite the fact that they've been netted and have had a cloche on overnight. There is, of course, some caterpillar damage, so just keeping an eye out, and that's what happens with brassicas. And there's some chives that I bought at the farmer's market that are nicely going to seed already, and a few onion sets, and a few direct sown marigolds that are creeping along. Today's kind of a rainy day, but we're going to take it because starting tomorrow we're supposed to be heading into the high 20s for an extended period, which is highly unusual for May, so should be interesting to see how all my little seedlings make out. A few little sweet peas poking their head in here, and I think I last thought that was calendula, but now I'm thinking they're bachelor buttons or cornflowers, I guess some people might also call them. Nothing in the mini greenhouse yet. Mostly just, well, the season's a little early, and my plants are kind of behind the times this year. For some reason, I had a lot of trouble getting my tomatoes and peppers to germinate, and they did eventually, but they're kind of small, and I don't want to risk stunting them worse than they already are. So the garlic, looking pretty fab actually. So it's just had its first feed of fish fertilizer, and yeah, out of the 198 cloves that were planted, I think only about 4 or 5 didn't emerge, so that's pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Under the fleece, I've got drying beans. I've never done drying beans before, but I'm just going to try a few of the bush type. And I've got kidney and one called tiger stripe or something. So a few little broccoli raw plants that were a bit of an experiment just to see how the microgreen seed would turn out. And arugula coming along. This bed has the first peas have been popping up, and the first sowing of carrots in amongst the weeds is starting to pop up, and some radish and hickory turnip, which are my favorite salad turnips, and a few little lettuces that were direct sown are coming along. So this year I'm sticking to 3 varieties. So I've got Drunken Woman, which was a real favorite lettuce last year, and I'm also doing Little Gem and Iceberg because I feel like Iceberg needs to make a return despite the bad rap it's gotten over the years. There's another row of carrots that went in last week, and there's some direct sown bush beans. I've done green in one bed, and over there is yellow, or vice versa. And that bed also has another row of carrots and a second succession of peas that has just been sown. The dirt that I got seemed to come with a heck of a lot of volunteers, and so it should be interesting because I'm terrible at weeding. All the potatoes now sown. I prefer bags. I do prefer the felt bags. Actually, I've had these black ones for, oh, it's got to be at least 10 years, and they just seem to be holding up. But this year I forgot to take the potato seed out of the bag, so they had horrendously long sprouts. So it became a now or never kind of planting situation, and so some of the bags ended up being filled a lot more than I normally would in the initial planting. I usually try and use like a hilling technique with the bags, but so we'll see. Bit early too, but oh well. I've got Norlands, and I'm not really sure how to say this one. It might be Binchy or something. A whole bunch of red Pontiac, which was a favorite variety last year. And then the good old russets. The rhubarb, getting ready for a pick. Unfortunately, both plants went to seed again this year, so I've picked those off, but I don't know what I did to stress those poor little things out, so hopefully they'll get a good settle in, but at least this year I feel like it's safe to harvest some of it anyway and have a feed. Some onion sets among the weeds here, and then onions that I started from seed. I've got yellow and some red, and then my favorite variety, which is Boratana, which is a smaller onion but quite hot and spicy, and yeah, it's just, but hopefully I improve on the growing from seed. They're actually starting to look a lot better than they were a while ago, so this bed will eventually also have some corn and my Brussels sprouts and such in here. And this was just a little planter I started in the greenhouse to give it a bit of an early start, but now that it's warming up it can be outside. So some radish and turnip, and this, actually it was another variety I decided to try. It's supposed to be a cooler variety, so Landis, but I think the real test will be as a fall planting and see how long it will last into winter is what I'm hoping for that variety. The poly house doesn't have a heck of a lot going on. Few herbs mostly, just some dill that's starting to poke up, a few parsley, the few little flowers that I did try from seed, some lobelia and snapdragons and nasturtiums and stuff, and I'll do some more direct sowing of that. I just find I tend to concentrate on getting the vegetables started, and then whatever little bit of space and time I have left, I do a few flowers and that's about it. So, and yeah, the little Brussels sprouts just waiting to go out, probably soon, but I think, I'm not sure if during the heat wave if they'll just be safer in here or if it would be better to put them out. But I did try direct sowing a few cucumber seeds, but no action yet. So, and yeah, and then some rosemary and oregano. The 3 buckets of warbas are coming along quite nicely. They're my favorite variety to try and get an early start, so you get some early new potatoes. So hopefully once again in July I'll have some potatoes to get started, but of course having sown the rest of them early, I might have lots of potatoes earlier. And more little sweet peas poking up here, and yeah, the rest to be planted up a bit later on. Grabbed a few strawberry plants, not sure how many I'll get from just 3, but that's was a cash only, and apparently I forgot my cash today, so just took what I could. Little wee shards poking through, green one, some lettuce, more onion sets. This is my purple sprouting broccoli. The one over there is purple peacock, although it's looking decidedly quite a bit like it's one of the plants they cross is kale, and that one looks quite a bit like kale. These ones are called a summer purple, and it's just interesting how they look so different. And this, I think, this is a volunteer onion. Somehow survived the winter out there and it's popping up, so we'll see. Otherwise, there's a little bit of spinach starting here and some green onions and some more direct sown lettuce. In this little pot here, one of my experiments a couple years ago was to let one of the garlic go to seed, and then I planted the baby seeds, and then you get like a small baby 1 clove of garlic, and then you harvest it, cure it like you would, and replant them. And it's a way to develop your own seed that's kind of hardy to your climate, but it's a long game because it takes about 2 to 3 years before you actually get a full bulb of garlic. So my 5 little survivors, so we'll see. And along with a bit of a mess hidden behind the poly house, I have a couple buckets, and I'm trying my cilantro and some dill over here just because it gets some sun, but not as much sun as the rest of the garden. I do get quite a bit of sun all day long, so things like cilantro and even my brassicas and stuff, like everything bolts quite quickly sometimes because the sun actually starts poking up over there first thing in the morning, and then it just circles around and I get sun all day long. So that's sort of the end of the property. As you can see, we're still in a bit of a development mode here. So the hubby's been scraping that back and leveling out the yard and stuff, and he's got a little bit more to go there. Our property sort of ends where those big trees are. The big trees are the next person's lot. So, and the big project for the last week has been new compost bins. So I'm quite proud of this and my hubby's work. So we were able to get that galvanized metal from someone at a very, very, very reasonable cost, let's say, and some pallets. And yeah, I'm hoping it'll act like a bit of a hot bin, maybe. And so this side here is got sort of the newest stuff, and that side is a mixture of last year's compost and my spent soil from my potato bags. So just mix it all up and reuse it in the rest of the potatoes that have room for that, and I'll be able to refresh some of my other pots and stuff. So, and yeah, the only other thing this year, I am really trying to stick to the square foot planting sort of ideas. Hopefully I stick to it. Usually I tend to deviate quite a bit, but so far this year I'm following the plan and following the succession plan for the most part. So hopefully just be able to maximize my space and grow as much of my own food as I can. So anywho, thanks for stopping by and have a good one.